My family and I were staying in motels for over a year.
I wanted to keep my children safe. I wanted so much for them. I didn't want them to be scared all the time.
I was so embarrassed. I've never been so embarrassed in my whole life to be living in a hotel with my 3-year-old.
The environment just wasn't something that I wanted my children to be around.
It was so scary. My job is to keep my children safe. It's my responsibility. And knowing that I couldn't do that every night was heartbreaking.
The problem here that we're addressing is family homelessness. So it's not something that most people think of as a big problem because you don't see families, pushing carts down the street and that kind of thing. But it's really the hidden homeless here that we're talking about. When you think of homelessness, you usually think of, the 38-year-old guy with the brown paper bag. And, there's a lot of those guys out there still, obviously. But the homelessness we're talking about here is typically a single mom with 2 or 3 kids. And you don't see those folks when you're driving down the street or walking through your community because, A, these moms typically are very, very afraid that somebody will find out that they're homeless, and they're afraid that Child Protective Services or some other entity will intervene and take their kid.
Every single day you wake up in the morning and you don't know if that friend's going to let you stay there that night. You don't know, you don't know anything about the future. I
was just hopeless. I felt hopeless. I was trapped in the financial aspect of being in a motel. It's impossible to save money for security deposit and whatnot. I had become unemployed, eviction, and it sent a downward spiral.
I couldn't handle the stress. I couldn't handle seeing my children scared or, crying, or hungry. I couldn't do that. They didn't see any future for any of us. I didn't know what to do, and that was the most terrifying, It's when you've got your children that rely on you to take care of them and you're not able to do that.
1 in 50 children in our country are homeless. If you do the math, just up here in North County, it's like 3,000 children. Just little tiny children have nowhere to sleep, no clothes, no food, no hope.
It's been a few years that I've been struggling with a job, with the girls, with the daycare, with the babysitters, and it's just like, it's a lot.
Typically what happens is the family wants to hunker down. The kids don't want to be away from mom, and they're all kind of in survival mode. So a lot of these kids, about 1/3 of them that we see, aren't in school, or they're not in school regularly. They're missing days or even weeks at a time.
This is a problem that we don't want to put a Band-Aid on, that we want to try to fix. We want to try to eliminate it from society.
What causes homelessness? And that's a big question that a lot more communities need to be asking themselves and realistically looking at what is the cause of this family's homelessness. Don't waste the family's time, the community's time, the funders' time and money by addressing the symptoms of homelessness. Get to the root and solve it, and it's a solvable condition. My wife and I have been getting shoulder to shoulder with homeless people here for 2 decades, almost 20 years. The idea is that we have to figure out together with the family what really caused their homelessness. And in order to do that, you need a comprehensive, holistic approach to accomplish that goal. At Solutions for Change, there is just one goal, and that is equip the family with the skills, knowledge, and resources they need to exit homelessness permanently. Not for 3 months, not for a year, but forever.
I'm constantly looking for ways to get you to believe.
The first thing that really took me was Chris, his passion for helping people, particularly families that have small children that were homeless. And at the time, I didn't even know that existed. Then it was how he was doing it. It wasn't about asking for money to buy soup for the day or bread for the day. It was really to educate people on learning and how to take care of their family and how to be a productive person in society.
So Solutions for Change was really designed around a regional platform. And so one of the things that really people talk about that makes this organization a special organization in a lot of people's eyes is that we're able to get the active participation of 6 different North County communities: Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, Encinitas, Escondido, Carlsbad. And those communities all invested in helping us build this Solutions University.
Thoughts turn into behavior quicker than you know what, right?
Yes.
A lot of times we talk about Solutions University, people think, you know, what is this? You know, some kind of online course or something. But this is a real university. We're on 2 acres. There's 5 buildings, 32 units that we provide here. This is our main on-campus. And then we have our intake and access center a couple miles down the road where families come in. On the back end, we have what we call New Solutions, which is permanent housing for people that have gone through the on-campus portion of it, have been fully equipped, and now they're living in off-campus housing, but still connected to the university staff and still connected to an ongoing partnership and accountability, which we found that was really important. So it's not solutions for the same old thing, it's solutions for change. And change requires some really hard work and a lot of dedication, but it's worth it.
Good morning.
5:30 in the morning, we wake up, feet on the floor. We make our beds, straighten our coveys out.
We have company. You need to be up, sweetheart. Feet on the floor.
The Solutions Intake Access Center, we call it IAC, that's really the first attempt at intervening into the cycle of homelessness, or in this case, family homelessness.
And there are different barriers for homelessness. There's drug abuse, there's domestic violence, there's mental illness, there's drug abuse and mental illness together. So there's numerous factors that any one of them could bring in the door with them.
So the idea at the Intake and Access Center is what really caused your homelessness? What really caused it? For a lot of moms, they're very reluctant to talk about what's really going on. So it's building the trust and really getting them to open up and talk about what really happened.
My name is Linda Smith. I've been in the nursing field for 13 years. And over a 5-year period, I got all my training. I got special courses and whatnot. And my patient passed away and left me jobless. My family, we went from motel to motel to motel. It wasn't safe. We didn't have any income, no food to eat. I didn't know where to go. I was just running around in circles, wondering how I'm gonna get out of this motel rut with my family. And they're looking at me for answers, and I had no answers to give them. When I first came in here, I had social anxiety. I never attended school functions for my children. My husband did that. I never took public transportation. It scared me. I couldn't go grocery shopping. I went certain times, or my husband did it for me, or my family members. Once I found out about this program through a friend, it was the right one for me. When I called, just the person at the front desk just greeted me with such warmth. I felt safe. Just that feeling of okay, I'm going home, you know. That's what it felt like to me. You come in with insecurities, you come in with hurting, you come in burdened with the weight of the world, hurt and scarred and rough around the edges. And this place, you start to loosen, and with the love and nurturing and the care we give each other and the support, it eases the pain. You start to heal. You start to heal, and that's how important it is that we pull together.
How are things at the shelter?
I'm having a hard time. I'm not asleep. It's been 3 nights and I haven't slept.
Why?
I miss Chris so much.
Your son, yeah. Case management, Leah's tailor-made for each client.
It's where we objectively measure what the client completes in our program.
Typically, when our clients arrive in the shelter, I'll see them 3 to 4 times a week, just to get them engaged with the program.
How's it going with your sponsor?
She's just waiting on me to finish that book.
When will you be done with that?
Hopefully by next week.
Takes a couple weeks because they're ill at ease at the shelter. They're scared. Their kids are scared. They're living in an environment with people they don't know, so it's frightening for them.
Your son needs you.
Yeah.
He needs you to be whole.
It's a struggle being homeless, and I think a little empathy and compassion and telling them they're going to make it makes a really big difference.
Why do you think you can't keep a job, hon?
Because I just can't do anything right.
Is that his words or yours?
His.
Okay. The population lately, it seems like about 80% will be approved. There's not many cases that we turn down.
We focus on 3 main areas: housing, health, and employment. So we start with the housing. Have they ever applied to Section 8? We get them to do that. We run their credit report. Do they have items on there they need to clean up? education and employment. We usually defer that until they're job ready. And health, do they have an alcohol problem? If so, they need to go to 3 meetings a week. They need to get a sponsor. Do they need alcohol and drug treatment? If they do, then we have an outpatient place where we send them. So it just depends on their individual needs when they come in, but each area, each one of those areas are looked at.
You gotta put the nana on baby, look. My name is Jennifer Pankey. I'm a resident here at Solutions for Change. I worked for a tile and marble company for 4 years. I was a manager, the office manager, and I did everything there. And then I started using, so I quit that job. I wasn't like that deep into my addiction yet. I just gradually started, I was too fat, I wanted to lose weight, I needed some more energy at work. I mean, you can find any excuse in the world. If you want to use, you're gonna find any excuse to use. So I just started creating all these excuses, and now I have to do it because this is how I'm gonna survive. It's survival now. At that point in my life, it was like the lowest point ever, because I always told myself, I'll never have CPS in my life, ever. I'll never have my kid taken away. You just tell yourself so many different things that will never happen to me. And I would never use if I was pregnant. I can't believe that girl did that, And then you just get to the point where you're so sick and so delusional and so empty that you have to fill it with something. I thought about adoption. I saw an agency. I was just gonna give her up for adoption because I couldn't have another kid. I didn't want another kid. I couldn't, especially if I was using it. And that is so incredibly sad to me that that led up to me giving birth to her. And when I had her and I looked at her, it was like all of those things just came crashing down. It was just like, how could you? I saw her, when she was first born, and it was like, I can't even believe that I did that, and she was so tiny and perfect. She tested positive for methamphetamine, so CPS did take her, which I'm not grateful for in any way, but I don't think that we would be the family that we are to now if I didn't have that huge wake-up call.
We have a lot of folks here that are on a courageous comeback from an addiction or alcoholism, and so there's a lot of post-treatment. We don't do drug and alcohol treatment here, but we do a lot of classes and a lot of support group kind of stuff for people that are in recovery. And so there's a lot of emphasis around that.
The subject is self-talk. We're trying to be mindful of what we say in our heads.
We have classes that we take that you have to complete. You have to attend 3 12-step meetings a week.
We have what we call a framework for recovery. It's a 40-hour professionally facilitated process, a lot of classroom time, but it's really about taking a look at what are the barriers here that's stopping me from being everything that I could be. And the first thing that we really are trying to do is get them into their own apartment.
You just really have to show your diligence. It usually goes in order of how you came into the shelter, how you move over here, but there's definitely people that get skipped because they're not, they're not serious about their program.
They get to the Solutions Family Center, and this is the place where really a lot of things come together for the family. And here, what we're talking about is, again, get up, suit up, and show up. So the parents are up early, typically around 5:30, 6 o'clock. The kids are off to school, or if they're preschool, they're into a daycare situation. Childcare is a very challenging thing here, so we've created a childcare co-op element where the moms will come together and help with the childcare initially until we can get them into daycare. You did it, look, Jamie, you did it. We have 128 kids right now in the Solutions University, and the average age of the person that we help here is 8 years old. So when you think of that, the average age being 8, obviously we're going to have a lot of youth-related programs. So we call our Terrific Kids Homework Club. We have mentors and tutors coming in here working with our kids. We've seen that, kids that are like in 3rd grade that are reading at a 1st grade level, that's just not acceptable. And, we've taken ball in hand and we said we can work with these kids and help them get their skill level up.
Oh my gosh. These are your breadsticks.
There's a lot of different groups that come in from the community. A lot of the church community has really gravitated towards the Solutions for Change vision, and they'll come in here with groups and they'll work with our kids in various different ways. It's really healthy and positive for our families. And so there's a lot that goes on here. There's employment-related training, because we believe that everybody here at the Solutions for Change organization needs to help pay their way.
You can have more than one resume.
Everybody here, even if they're not full-time employed yet, and by the way, that is one of the top goals when they get here, is to get them full-time employed. But we don't want to just get them any job, because what we've seen is that a lot of people can get a temp job or just get a job. We're really trying to get folks equipped to where they can get a job and obviously keep that job. Before they get the job, they're actually assigned different work-related assignments, and so they're here on site doing property maintenance, doing the child care co-op. We also go off-site quite a bit and help out in the community, and so they're doing that until they get the full-time job. And then everybody here at the Solutions for Change organization is required to pay rent. Some people are surprised about that. If you don't have any income, then you're not going to pay rent, but very quickly here at Solutions for Change, you're getting that full-time job.
All right, let's pull this in here and let's get inside. Come on.
So what we figured out here is that we were equipping people and then shipping them back out to the community, and then some of them were falling back. And so several years ago we said, well, what if we developed another 500 days off campus where the services and the interaction has really decreased a lot, because again, we want to mainstream people. We don't want them to become dependent or reliant on our nonprofit program. The idea of the new Solutions is now you're living in your own place. You're off campus, so you've been on campus for 500 days. Now you move off campus and you're living there for another 500 days. Well, there's some ongoing partnership and accountability. What we learned is that the ongoing accountability for 500 days is critical, because we just don't want to rehouse them. We want to restake them back in the community. We don't want them to fall back out. We're all about equipping people for self-sufficiency. So we don't want to establish anything where it's dependency, and they're doing it.
My name is Leanna Hurlbutt, and I'm a Solutions for Change graduate. I was raised in an abusive family. My mom was an alcoholic and my dad was physically abusive. I got married at 18 to a man who was older than me. He was in the Army. And when he came back from fighting in the Gulf, he started drinking a lot and became abusive. So I tried to escape the home life, and I ended up getting into one that was worse. I stayed there. I ended up in a battered women's shelter. And from there, I went from friend to friend, relying on others to support us, until I ran out of friends. I didn't know where to turn. I'd never been on my own, and I didn't know there were places that could help me. And it's constant stress. And then if the kids pick up the stress, and they're constantly scared because they know you're scared, and they don't understand why you're scared, but they know you're scared. I heard of Solutions for Change, and I applied. When I applied here, I was at the lowest point I'd been in my life. I had no confidence. I had nothing, but they had hope in me. They gave me hope. They believed I could succeed. I never had a routine before where I got up and did certain things during the day and make it a part of your life, and I would just go here, go there, do it, but here it was, you get up, you do your chores, you eat, then you do more, you have a routine, and I never had a routine before. It's amazing, I never thought I'd be where I am today. I look at pictures of myself back then, and I'm amazed at how I went from walking around shuffled over, not looking at anybody, to, being able to talk to people where I couldn't talk to people before.
65% of the families that we're bringing into the Solutions University will make it through that first 500 days, get equipped, and get into our off-campus housing, get into our new solutions. And then from there, the exciting thing is that we've seen now for 6 years is that 93% of the folks that make it to the off-campus housing that we have will make it. That's an exciting, we're all driven here, to solve homelessness, and so when we see that second 500 days really seals the deal, and it really does solve it long term.
Even all my hopes and dreams, I was like, oh, it's never going to happen, it's too hard. It was a lot of hard work, But, you know, it was worth it. And I never would have imagined I could be self-sufficient and in charge of everything in my life right now. It's going to be $1.49. Got my driver's license for the first time in my life. Bought a car with money I earned, and I'm independent now. For the first time in my life, I've never been independent before, but I'm on no public assistance. Everything I have or my kids have is bought by me, and it's great.
We really are much different than what most people think of. When you think of homeless agencies, a lot of people think service, and they think about servicing the homeless person. We don't believe here in servicing the homeless person, because it's so much more than just providing services. You know, it's really about relationships, shoulder to shoulder. It's a whole different feel, it's a whole different thing, and the solutions coaches are really the heart of the organization and what we do here. They're the ones that will not only intervene into the homeless situation with the family, but then help lead them out of homelessness over a long period of time.
Homeless people are like anyone else. They're like you and I. They want someone to help them through the trials of life. I guess the satisfying part is when they graduate. It's all them. You know, I just hold their hand through it.
I've worked really hard to get here, but, you know, I came from having nothing. Absolutely nothing, and no hope and everything, and I worked hard, and you know, I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of how hard I worked, and it's a great accomplishment to know I went from nothing to having a 3-bedroom house.
I definitely was broken when I came in. Like I was broken when I went to rehab, and by the time I just wanted to start my family, I just wanted us to have, you know, a new start in life. So yeah, I'll do it a million times over. To have the look on my 10-year-old's face that, you know, when she has her own room, the look on her face, I'd do 1,000 times what I had to do to get over to the apartments just to see that look on her face. It's awesome.
Solutions University right now is what we're helping about 65 families currently. You know, that's in all the different phases of the university. So what we're really talking about here at Solutions for Change, thus the name Solutions for Change, is we're talking about defeating the lowest rung of poverty in North San Diego County, which is a mirror of really any suburbs around the country. I mean, this is suburbia here.
I'm confident about my future because I know I'm not going to be where I was again. You know, I know that I have the skills to never be in that situation again. So I don't have that fear that it's all going to fall apart and it's going to go away, because even if I do lose my job someday with this economy, I know I have the skills and I know what to do. You know, I don't have to worry about being homeless again.
As long as you're open and willing, like you can do anything, like anybody's moldable. Because when you get here, I don't know about whether people and their, you know, if it's just financially or whatever it is, but with drug addicts, you're broken. By the time you stop, you're broken and you're empty, and you have to rebuild yourself. So in the process of just being completely open and willing and doing that, and then the tools that they give you, the classes, all that, it rebuilds you, and it kind of rebuilds you into this person that you're just like, wow, I really like myself. You know, I can really be proud of who I am today.
Javen, are you ready?
There's lots of different ways to get involved, and really this is, you know, we hear about the phrase call to action, you know. Is this a call to action? Yes, this is a call to action. It's a call to action to every community out there, to every beating heart out there. We know that there are a lot of heroes in communities across the country. Just, if you're using the old battle plan, I just implore you, throw it out. Get rid of it, abandon it, shred it, get rid of it. It's not, you're gonna get some that get out, okay? But for the vast majority of people, all you're gonna be doing is containing it, and it's like one big churning exercise, right? You're not going to get long-term permanent solutions. Abandon the old plan, embrace the new plan, redesign around a model for your community that's going to solve it. One thing, solve it, baby. You can do it. These families can do it. Your community can do it. You can be part of something that could be life-transforming for your community and for those kids and those families.
The world is just so hectic today, and we're all just taking care of our jobs and our kids and our hobbies, that we lose sight of we got to contribute something when we leave this world. What are we going to be remembered for? And all the stuff that we do every day, nobody's going to remember you for that. But if you could say, I was really a part of this unbelievable thing that started in North County, San Diego, and today, which is 20 years from now, there's no homeless families in the United States, that would be an unbelievable thing to say that you were a part of that. And that's what I'm feeling more than anything is how people just want to help others. And I think it's really eye-opening for me.
And that's my challenge to every single community out there. You don't have to settle for just, you know, soup bowls and shelter beds and containing this thing. You can literally transform a whole community and a lot of families and a lot of kids' lives.
I'll always be grateful to them. They've given me a life, and I never dreamed I could have this life.
So it's not solutions for the same old thing, it's solutions for change. And change requires some really hard work and a lot of dedication, but it's worth it. It's worth it for the family, for the community, because now they have better neighbors, better employees, people buying goods and services. But you know, it's really better for the kids because they've got a chance now. You can do it. You can be part of the solution. Get out there and do it.
Solutions for Change is all about solving that problem. And when I met with Chris and he told me that they're not trying to feed people for a night or a weekend or a week, but they're really trying to solve this, to eliminate family homelessness, not only from San Diego, but from the United States. That's a dream that this community can get behind. Initially, we pledged $1,000 for this initiative. And tonight I'd like to tell you that with all of the people from TaylorMade, we're here tonight to pledge $1 million. $1 million.
But we aren't just talking about a few families, folks. We're talking about hundreds of families. Here are the families that are finding their way home right now. Let's give all of them a big round of applause.